In the spring of 2026, the iconic red barn of Roloff Farm stands silent, overlooking 109 acres of Oregon countryside that built a television empire. But the silence is deafening. After 30 years, 25 seasons, and a family war fought in the public eye, Matt Roloff has once again placed a for sale sign on the dream he built with his own hands. And this time, the decision by his son Zach and daughter-in-law Tori to walk away isn't just a rejection of property, it is the final heartbreaking verdict on a legacy that will never be inherited. For nearly 2 decades, viewers of TLC's Little People, Big World didn't just watch a TV show, they grew up with the Roloffs. We watched Zach Roloff, born with achondroplasia like his father, navigate a world built for average-sized people. We watched him fall in love with Tori, get married in that famous red barn, and start a family of his own. The farm was always the backdrop, the physical manifestation of Matt Roloff's visionary spirit. It was supposed to be the family heirloom. But as of March 2026, that narrative has been permanently shattered. Matt is preparing to sell the property once more, and despite years of speculation, longing, and bitter negotiation, Zach and Tori have issued a definitive statement: they are not buying it. They are not coming home. This is not merely a real estate transaction. It is the final chapter of a reality TV fairy tale gone wrong, a case study in how family, business, and the camera can collide to burn the very bridge they all built. Today, we are going beyond the headlines and the Instagram posts to investigate the deep, decades-long history that led to this point, the psychology of the players involved, and what this means for the future of the family America thought it knew. To understand the gravity of the 2026 standoff, we have to go back to the mud. Back to 1990. Matt and Amy Roloff, a young couple determined to prove that little people could live big lives, purchased a struggling 34-acre farm in Helvetia, Oregon. Matt, diagnosed with dystrophic dysplasia, had endured numerous childhood surgeries and walked with crutches. He was a dreamer, a visionary who saw potential where others saw only dirt. Amy, pregnant with twins Jeremy and Zach at the time of the purchase, was the pragmatic anchor. The farm was a wreck, but Matt saw a castle. Over the next decade and a half, the Roloffs transformed that property. They built a western town, dug a 60-foot mine shaft inspired by a photo Matt could never physically hike to see, constructed accessible treehouses, and cultivated a pumpkin patch that would become a regional institution. In 2006, TLC came calling. The network saw the educational potential of depicting dwarfism in an everyday setting, but America saw something else: a family. Little People, Big World premiered, and suddenly the farm was a character. We watched the kids ride tractors, we watched Matt zoom around in his specialized cart, and we watched Amy manage the chaos. But as the seasons rolled on, the fairy tale facade began to crack. The show, which held the Guinness World Record for the most episodes of a family-focused reality show, documented not just the triumphs but the trials. The marriage between the visionary builder and the grounded mother frayed under the pressure. In 2015, after 27 years of marriage and 395 episodes of documenting their lives, Matt and Amy announced their separation. The divorce was finalized in 2016, and with it came the first great threat to the farm's unity. For 2 years, the property hung in limbo until 2019, when Amy made the difficult decision to sell her half of the farm to Matt for $975,000. She walked away with a buyout, leaving Matt as the sole proprietor. But she also walked away with something else: the knowledge that she had no more say. The fate of the legacy was now entirely in the hands of her ex-husband. The stage was set for a succession. But succession in a family business is never easy. Succession in a family business filmed for national television is nearly impossible. The negotiation that wasn't. By 2020, the twins, Zach and Jeremy, had both expressed interest in the farm. Zach, in particular, felt a deep pull. He had met Tori while they both worked at the farm. They were married on the property in 2015. For Zach, the farm wasn't just land. It was the proof that someone with his stature could conquer the world. He wanted that for his son Jackson, who also has dwarfism. What followed was documented in season 22, but the reality behind the scenes was even more raw. Matt agreed to sit down with Zach. To the public, it looked like a father passing the torch. To Matt, it was a business transaction. The valuation was the first bullet point in the war. Matt valued the farm based on its potential, its brand, its value as a commercial entity. Zach, viewing it as a family home, saw a different number. The meeting, held with Karen Chandler, Matt's partner, and Tori present, imploded. Matt later claimed, "Zach came in real hot. He didn't come in to negotiate. He came in to demand." Zach's perspective was radically different. He felt that Matt had already made up his mind, that the meeting was a performance for the cameras rather than a genuine transfer of power. "You're not dictating the terms here," Zach told producers, articulating the core wound. "You've dictated too much for too long." The negotiation fell apart. It wasn't just about money, it was about control. Matt, the visionary who built it from nothing, could not let go of the reins. Zach, the heir apparent, could not accept a throne with strings attached. The aftermath was swift and seismic. In October 2021, Zach and Tori made a move that shocked the fanbase. They packed up their 3 children, Jackson, Lila, and Josiah, and left Oregon. They relocated to Battleground, Washington, purchasing a home with a backyard Tori described as their little slice of heaven. It was a physical manifestation of the emotional distance that had grown between father and son.
Then came the hammer blow. In May 2022, Matt listed 16 acres of the farm, including the original farmhouse and the iconic red barn, for sale at $4 million. He posted a statement to Instagram, claiming that his ultimate hope was that the entire Roloff Farms property would stay in our family for generations to come, but that "my twin boys decided not to consider working together toward a possible joint sale." This was the point of no return. Zach fired back publicly, a rare and devastating move for a family that usually kept the deepest wounds off camera. He called his father's post extremely misguided and false, labeling it a new shocking low of cowardice and manipulation of his family and kids for his own gain. The feud was no longer subtext, it was the headline. What followed was a bizarre, almost tragicomic carousel of real estate decisions. The 16-acre parcel didn't sell. In October 2022, Matt pulled it off the market, announcing he would convert the farmhouse into a short-term rental. By August 2023, it was back on the market, this time priced at $3.395 million. By December 2023, it was off again. It was as if Matt was trying to sell a piece of his soul, only to grab it back at the last minute. In a bizarre twist during the season 25 premiere in February 2024, Matt dropped another bombshell. He was leaving the farm to Amy in his will. Amy called the situation crazy, and Matt admitted that any other option was too complicated. It felt less like a romantic gesture and more like a chess move, a way to ensure that if he couldn't sell it and his sons wouldn't buy it on his terms, the property would revert to the one person who understood its value but couldn't exploit it. The 2026 listing and the definitive no. By January 2026, the cycle began again. Matt, now 64 and freshly single after splitting from fiancée Karen Chandler in July 2025, told People magazine he was listing the 16-acre parcel once more, this time at a reduced price of $2,895,000. He spoke poetically about the property holding magical memories and admitted that while he had hoped the farm would remain in the family, life happened and that was not meant to be. This latest listing, however, came with a new variable. For years, there had been a sliver of hope among fans that Zach and Tori would eventually move back, that the legacy would be restored. But on March 4, 2026, Tori Roloff took to her Instagram stories for a candid Q&A. A fan asked the direct question, would they be buying the farm? Tori's answer was blunt. Definitely not, she explained, because this is our backyard and we are very content with our little slice of heaven. The statement was polite, but the subtext was deafening. The door, which had been cracked for years, was now slammed shut. Zach and Tori were not playing the game anymore. So, we must ask the difficult question. Why? Why would Zach, who grew up in the shadow of that red barn, who married his wife there, who understands the brand value and the emotional pull, walk away? And why would Matt, who claims to love his family, repeatedly lists the property rather than find a way to make the numbers work for his son. This is where our documentary lens must focus on the psychology of the players and the toxic nature of reality economics. First, consider Matt Roloff, the visionary trapped in the builder's paradox. Matt is a man who overcame physical limitations through sheer force of will. He built a business, a farm, and a brand from nothing. For such men, the creation is an extension of the self. Selling it to someone else, even a son, feels like selling a part of their own body. But more than that, Matt is a dealmaker. He has spent his life negotiating. In his mind, the inflated price for the farm wasn't greed. It was the market rate for a dream. When Zach came to negotiate, Matt didn't see his little boy. He saw a counterparty. And in Matt's world, you don't give a counterparty a discount just because you share DNA. The tragedy is that Zach interpreted this as rejection. Matt interpreted it as business. Second, consider Zach Roloff, the heir searching for autonomy. Zach has spent his entire adult life being compared to his father. As a little person, his path was often assumed to be a replica of Matt's. But Zach is not Matt. He is quieter, more reserved, and arguably more sensitive. The negotiation wasn't just about a price per acre, it was about respect. When Matt demanded control, Zach heard, "You are not capable of running this without me." Moving to Washington was the healthiest thing Zach could do. It allowed him to become the patriarch of his own domain, to be the big man in his own house. Buying the farm would mean stepping back into his father's shadow, assuming a mortgage that would